In today's vlog, we buy in for the most amount of money we have ever before. Our poison of choice is the 5-5 game at the Gardens Casino. Stay tuned to see how our session ends. We sit down with $500 and we jump right into the action. First hand we play, we have pocket sixes and low jack, underly gun 1 limps. I raise it up to $25. The big blind and the underly gun limper make the call. 3 ways, the flop comes queen 9 jack, 2 diamonds. When it checks to me, I see bet large for $50 as I would do with my whole range. This flop connects very well with my range with hands like ace queen, queen jack, pocket queens, pocket jacks, pocket nines. So I think we have to bet it when we have it and when we don't. Only the underly gun 1 player makes the call, and the turn is the 2 of diamonds, completing the front door flush draw. The underly gun 1 player seems to love this card because he double checks his cards, licks his lips, and then bets out for $55. Yeah, no thanks. I fold my weak little pair and we lose our first hand. Stack is down to $415. On to our second hand with ace queen offsuit in the big blind. There's a cutoff open to $20. The button makes the call. So with the premium holding, I 3-bet to $100, taking command of the pot. Only the cutoff, which is the initial raiser, makes the call. Heads up to a flop comes queen jack deuce rainbow. The button immediately smacks his hands in frustration, saying, I had queen jack. The dealer tells him to shut up as politely as possible, and now it's on me. Just like last hand on this queen jack high flop, I certainly have the range advantage with ace queen, which is what I actually have this time. Hands like queen jack, pocket queens, pocket jacks, king queen, hands like that. So sometimes I have it and sometimes I don't. Lucky for us, we have top pair, top kicker this time, so I make a standard C bet of $80 for a 1/3 pot size bet. I hope our opponent thinks it's less likely I have anything on this board after the button announces his hand, but he wisely makes the fold and we take down our first hand. Let's go. Stack is in the profit at $540. In this third hand, we pick up 7-5 of hearts on the button. There's a $10 straddle on, only again 3 limps, and with a spicy hand like 7-5 suited, I raise it up to $35 and only the limper makes the call. Heads up to the flop comes 2-3-4 rainbow with 1 heart. We have an open-ended straight draw to the nut straight and a backdoor flush draw. This particular opponent wears his hand on his face, meaning he has a lot of facial tells, tons of lip movement, and hand gestures on how he's holding his cards. Even a 4-year-old can tell he doesn't like his hand. So with this read and my draw, I put in a small C bet of $25 and he quickly folds. Yep, easy money. Always pay attention to your opponents. Poker is a game of people rather than cards, but the cards definitely help. Our stack is growing almost up to $600. In hand number 4, we pick up the 10 out of 10s, pocket 10s in the small blind. There's an underly gun 1 open to $30. This is a new player and it's his second hand in a row raising, so it's either he's catching cards or he's just a loose player. 2 other players also seem to want to keep him honest and they make the call. So for a pretty decent pair and $95 of dead money out, I 3-bet large to $180. I don't mind taking down the money now, but the underly gun 1 player has other ideas and he 4-bet jams, covering me for $540. I definitely don't love this spot. We could be crushed by jacks through aces and we're probably flipping at best. However, when it folds to me, I do think I'm too priced in after putting in a third of my stack, so I make the call. Heads up to a run out comes ace queen 10, 2 hearts. Cha-ching! We flop bottom set. The turn is the 8 of clubs and the river is the jack of spades. Fuck, that's not good. I was beating ace king, but not anymore. Our opponent shows pocket kings for the straight. GG. We lose on the river, and to be fair, we were way behind pre-flop, got super lucky on the flop, and then got super unlucky on the river. Nothing to do other than rebuy for another 500, and I guess this player is just picking up monsters. Let's try to bounce back after our catastrophe with pocket 10s when we look down at king 10 offsuit in underly gun 2. We open at $20, the low jack calls, and the big blind makes the call as well. 3 ways, the flop comes ace 10 deuce, 2 clubs. With middle pair, I see bet $30 on this ace high flop because there's a ton of draws I could get calls from, and only the low jack makes the call. Heads up, the turn is the queen of clubs completing the flush. I think I can turn my hand into a bluff and get him off an ace, so I fire again for $80. Our opponent snap calls. Okay, that's not good. And the river is the 9 of clubs, putting out 4 clubs out. Well, if our opponent had a small flush, then I can bluff him off, right? After all, I do have more ace of clubs and king of clubs in my range than he does, and my 10 is definitely no good at this point. Our opponent is breathing super heavy and he's hella fidgety. Don't know if it's because he has the nuts or if he's nervous about the river, but I guess we're about to find out. I fire my 3rd barrel for $115. Our opponent snap jams and I quickly fold. Well, that sucks. Our stack gets torched down to $170. What are we doing? After that miserable attempt of a bluff, bleed down to $120 and we look down at ace jack offsuit. At this point, it looks like aces. So when there's a straddle on and 3 callers with all his dead money out, we're sending it. We go all in and try to take down this dead money or get a double up. The undergun limper calls my 120 and heads up to a run out. The flop comes 7-3 deuce, rainbow, no help. The turn is the 10 of hearts. Come on, river. And the river is the 2 of clubs. Ah, man. Our opponent chose king 10 offsuit for top pair and we bust our second bullet. We are pretty tilted at this point. We lock our seat and take a little walk to cool off and regroup. You've only played for a little bit over an hour and we're already down 2 buy-ins. So not really sure if I want to commit a third bullet because if we lose, that would be the most we've ever lost in a single session, let alone the most we've ever bought in for. But on the other hand, I have the perfect image to get paid with my bluffy image. Plus, I drove 45 minutes to the casino, so don't want to be driving more than I played for. So fuck it, let's run it back up. Come on, poker players never quit. Let's do this! Alright, 10 minutes after we rebuy for our third and final bullet, we look down at the beautiful pocket aces in the hijack. There we go, that's what I'm talking about. Let's get our money back here and now. There's a $10 straddle on, I'm only getting 2 limps. I raise it up to $40 and only the small blind calls. This is the guy who had kings against my 10s in my first buy-in, so let's get him back. Heads up, the flop comes king, queen, 4, rainbow. Our opponent checks, so I see bet $40 trying to target a king or a queen, and the small blind makes the call. The turn is the 7 of spades bringing a backdoor flush draw. Our opponent checks once again, and now I size up to $150 trying to get all the money in by the river. Hopefully he has a hand like king jack or king 10 and doesn't believe my bluffy image, or even jack 10 of spades for a big draw. Our opponent unfortunately folds and we can't get paid. Well, we didn't get a double up, but we'll take it. Our stack is heading in the right direction back to $615. Next stop on the comeback train, we have ace 5 offsuit in the big blind. There's a hijack limp, the cutoff opens to $25. The button, small blind, me, and the hijack make the call. 5 ways to the flop comes ace 4 5, 2 diamonds. Cha-ching, we flop top 2 pair. The small blind checks, I check setting the trap, planning on check raising, and it checks to the pre-flop raiser who c-bets large for $115. Facing this large bet, everyone folds to me, and the pre-flop raiser has about $350 to $400 behind. I think he must have a pretty strong hand like ace king or ace queen, judging by his nearly pot-sized bet on a wet flop. So I decide to check jam and get all the money in now. The hijack folds and the pre-flop raiser calls very fast. Off to a run out, the turn is the king of spades. Fuck, that's not good because ace king is a very likely holding he may have that we're now losing to, and the river is the 6 of clubs breaking out the flush draw. I show my 2 pair and it's good. Let's go. He said he had a straight draw and flush draw, so he must have had a hand like 6-7 of diamonds. We were somehow able to dodge everything. Phew. Nice to hold against a monster draw and stack our first opponent, dragging in a much needed pot. Our stack crosses the 1K mark for the first time, sitting at $1,150. Let's go. We raised 3 hands in a row with pocket 8s, then 9s, then ace 10 of hearts, and before you know it, we're up to $1,200. Only 300 more bucks till we get back to even. We are starting to heat up. Continuing the heater, we pick up pocket queens, the ladies in under gun 1. It's time to get even, ladies and gentlemen. We open to $20. It goes 5 ways to a flop of jack 9-7 rainbow. Well, not the best flop because 4 other opponents could easily have a variety of sets like pocket 7s and 9s, 2 pairs like jack 9, 7-9, or even straights with 10-8 suited. But it's also not the worst flop in the world because there's no ace or king. So when it checks to me, I see bet $45 to test the waters. It folds to the button, who re-raises to $120. The big blind now goes over the top and jams all in for about $300. Well, 1 pair seems like it's no good here, even though it is an over pair. And as much as I love the ladies, I make a disciplined fold, cutting my losses. Don't want to commit my whole stack with just 1 pair in a multi-way pot, and the button calls it off. So off to a run out, the turn is the bink queen of diamonds. Oh my gosh, we would have turned top set, but we still lose to a straight, and the river is a total brick. Both my opponents show 2 pair for jack 7 and 9-7. We would have destroyed these guys. God dang it. Should have trusted the ladies. Well, at least we made a great fold, but that hurts to see that we would have gotten there. If only we were a donkey and called it off, we would have lucked out and hit our 2 outer and stacked 2 players, sending us to Profitville. Oh well, we can't see into the future, so all we can do is make the best decisions we possibly can at the time, and we did in fact make the correct fold, drawing to literally only 2 outs. So good fold, bad result, such is life. Let's redeem our queens with ace-4 offsuit on the button. There's an open to $20, and it goes 4 ways to a flop of ace-6-3, 2 diamonds. We have top pair, weak kicker with some backdoor straight draw potential. So when it surprisingly checks to me, I bet out for $40, trying to see where I'm at and charge any flush draws or straight draws. The small blind and cutoff both call me. 3 ways now. The turn is the bink 4 of spades. Cha-ching! We turn 2 pair. They both check to me once again. If I didn't improve on the turn, I most likely would have slowed down and checked for pot control. But now that we made 2 pair and the board is becoming more connected and a flush draw is still out, it seems like a mandatory bet. So he sides up to $125, trying to build a pot where I can comfortably go all in by the river. The small blind folds, but the cutoff calls. Heads up now, mono e mono. We really don't want to see a diamond, deuce, 5, or 7. And the river is the 3 of clubs, breaking out all the draws. My opponent checks dark, meaning he checks before the river is even revealed. Action is back on me. The flush draw missed. I'm beating any ace because ace-6 for top 2 pair would have raised themselves and not checked dark. Also, any ace is going to feel way more confident now that it improved to 2 pair and the flush draw bricked out. So I take a look at my opponent's stack. He has about $320 behind, so screw it. I go for it all. We stick to the plan and we go all in. Our opponent immediately feels uncomfortable and says that he can only beat a bluff. That's good news for us. We're definitely rooting for a call, and after some pondering, our opponent eventually does stick in the call. I show my 2 pair and we win! Let's go! Our stack is finally in the green at $1,860. We have climbed ourselves out of the hole and are now up $360. Let's freaking go! Let's continue the momentum with ace-10 of clubs and only gun 1. We open to $20 and we get 2 callers. 3 ways to the flop comes 10-8-6 rainbow with 1 club. Nice to flop top pair top kicker, so I see bet $30 and only the button makes the call. Heads up now, the turn is the 10 of hearts. Cha-ching! We turn trips with the best kicker. I choose to be sneaky and I check, planning on check raising. Sadly, the button checks back, taking a free card. The river is the ace of spades. Double cha-ching! We improve to a boat. With the full house now, I choose to bet huge for $100 and he thinks about it for a bit and then makes the fold. We should have bet the turn and blasted the river. I think I got too fancy with it. I gotta just bet it when I got it, especially when I have a very aggressive and loose image. I also think as played when the ace hits the river, I should use a smaller sizing on the river because our opponent seems very weak when they check call the flop and check back the turn. And the ace is a very good card for me as the early position pre-flop raiser. So kinda a weird hand played by me, to be honest, but nonetheless, we take down another pot. 20 minutes later, we pick up the Jackie Chan's. Pocket jacks in the big blind. There's 2 limps, the cutoff opens to $25, the button calls, the small blind folds, and now it's on me. With the Jackie Chan's, we are ready to battle. So I 3-bet large to $125. You need to use a larger sizing when out of position because you don't mind taking it down pre-flop, and also a large 3-bet creates a smaller stack to pot ratio post-flop if they do call and you have to navigate a flop. It folds to the pre-flop raiser who snap calls the extra $100. Interesting snap call because if he had aces, kings, or queens, he should think about 4-betting me some portion of the time. The snap call is indicative that he probably has a marginal hand like a middling pocket pair, suited connector, or maybe even a ace queen, ace jack type of hand. Definitely not a bigger pocket pair than mine. The button folds and it's heads up to a flop of queen, queen, 3, 2 diamonds. On this dry flop, I'm gonna be way ahead or way behind. We lose 2 hands like ace queen or king queen or pocket 3s, but with 2 queens out there already, I need to bet for value against smaller pocket pairs like 10s through 4s or suited connectors with a flush draw. So I see bet $80 and he thinks about it and then folds. Nice. We take it down and our stack is up to $1,900. So we've definitely been getting hit with the deck in our comeback thus far, but not in this hand. We look down at Queen 10 offsuit and only gun 2. The straddle is on to $10. I've gained all my confidence back and then some, so I open to $30. The big blind and straddle make the call. 3 ways to the flop comes King 8-3, 2 hearts. We have the 10 of hearts, so we have a ton of backdoor draws that can improve us on the turn, like any jack, 9, ace, or heart. So when it checks to me, I'm gonna bet my range like I have a king, so I see bet half pot for $45 on a flush draw board. The big blind folds, but the straddle makes the call. 1 down, 1 more to go. It's down to heads up, and the turn brings in the jack of spades, improving us to an open-ended straight draw. Our opponent checks once more. Now that I picked up additional equity, this is a great spot to double barrel, so I size up to $125, representing a strong hand like ace king, king queen, or even king jack for top 2 pair. Our opponent believes us and folds instantly. We take it down with some double barrel action. Let's go. Next, we look down at 10-8 of diamonds in the low jack. One of our favorite hands to play because it has a lot of potential to make some straights, flushes, and 2 pairs. Running on 1 limps, I raise it up to $25. The button and limper make the call. 3 ways to the flop comes Queen 8 deuce, 2 clubs, and 1 diamond. Not a bad flop with middle pair and some backdoor flush and straight possibilities, so when the only one player checks, I see bet $35. The button snap calls. The only one player folds, down to heads up, and the turn is the Queen of Hearts, pairing the top card. Pretty good card because it's much less likely that we're up against a queen, and is more likely that our opponent has a draw of some sort. I think I can still get value from a flush draw, so I fire again for $65. Our opponent snap calls once again. Usually when players snap call your bet twice, they are on a draw and they really just want to see the next card. If they instead take some time to call your bet, oftentimes they have a stronger hand than just a draw. I need to think about whether they should either just call or put in a raise. I'm going with my read, so I'm really hoping for a non-club, and the river is the 3 of diamonds, perfect brick. Putting our opponent on a misdraw like clubs or straight draws like jack 9 or 9-10, I check, giving him an opportunity to bluff and pot controlling if he somehow has a queen. He reaches for chips and I'm ready to call anything. Literally, if he jams his remaining $250 in, I will call. He doesn't bet out $250, but he does bet out for $75. I snap call and he shows deuce 5 of hearts. What? He's a huge non-believer and turned his deuce into a bluff. Interesting. I would have expected our opponent to take his deuce down to showdown, but whatever. We get the max off this guy and we win a nice size pot, and I really like how I played this hand, allowing us to bring our stack up to a session high of $2,100. After that, we lose 2 pots with ace queen offsuit and king jack of hearts, and we rack it up and lock in our comeback victory. Let's go. We were in for a career high of $1,500, out for $2,009 in 3.5 hours for a profit of $509. After, me and Mona celebrate my comeback victory with some Indian food 10 minutes down the street in Artesia. It was some of the best Indian food we've ever had. Later this month, I also went to my first ever live fight night at the Carmels Casino with our boy Remy, who bought our tickets for my belated birthday. We got hella drunk watching these fights and it was a ton of fun. We bought the cheapest tickets, but we're still able to get super close to the cage to enjoy the action.
Oh! Oh! I think you can tell one of us would be like UFC 302. Yeah. Dude, they're so close. What's the best you're looking at? Front seats, man. Come on. Oh, yeah?
In the first round, we see this guy get saved by the bell in the first round. And start of the second round, he rocks the other guy and knocks him out. What an insane fight.
What a hero! Not a hero's ribcage. Yeah!
Good shit, bro. You good, bro. Good shit. Nice popcorn, Remy. As we're waiting for the ambulance to return before the next fight starts, we watch our boy Victor Quicks, aka the Striking Viking, warm up as a plus 600 underdog. We go over to say what's up and he gives us a fist bump. Honestly, I can't believe I just fist bumped this guy. Didn't get it on camera, but Remy is a witness. With a bump of fists, he has just earned himself 2 new fans. Let's go, Striking Viking! Pull off the upset! Striking Viking! Hit him back! Let's go, baby! Come on! Show him what you're made of! Oh, yeah!
This is so fun.
I know.
This is so fun. Like it's definitely here.
I know, dude.
Let's go, Victor!
Victor! You take those! What we do? There you go! He doesn't know what the Striking Viking's all about! Come on!
We've known him for 10 minutes.
I know! Yo, but I like him, dude. I like him. No, I already like him, bro. Yo, I fist bumped him, that's all I need. Alright, be good, be good. There you go! Let's go, Victor! Unfortunately, he loses the decision, but he put up a good fight. Good luck in your next fight, Striking Viking. Yo, Rem, cheers. Cheers. After the Striking Viking, it moves on to the main event, Diaz versus Lewis. There's some Mexican dudes next to us who are rooting for Diaz, so I guess we are too. Let's go, Diaz! Good thing we're on the winning side this time because Diaz gets a first round knockout. Let's go! It was definitely a great experience. I'm always down to run it back with you, Remy.